At Total Pharmacy Care, we fill your prescriptions and answer any questions about your medications. No distractions and no long lines. Tell your doctor to send your prescriptions to Total Pharmacy Care.
Welcome back to another episode of the Unwired Appalachia podcast from the beautiful Appalachian Wireless Arena in downtown Pikeville. This is season 2, episode 8.
8. I'm going Gary Carter.
That's a great one.
The Jerry curl and the white dude from the Expos. Come on, man.
Yeah, if we
Plus
get a chance,
he was a catcher.
we need to flash a Gary Carter like 1981 Topps baseball card
with the Expos.
Yeah, right here somewhere.
That's him at his prime.
I mean, I was going to go Steve Young. I think we were
Can't
talking
go
about
wrong
this
there.
last
Can't
week.
go wrong there.
I had Aikman.
That's a good one too.
Nobody mentioned Kobe or Dale Jr.
Dale Jr. I would never.
That was a Corey.
Shout out to Dale Jr.
That was a Corey.
Yeah. Okay. I don't hate it. Real quick, want to say thank you to our sponsors, Bruce Walters. Bruce Walters just updated pricing on all their new inventory. Check them out, brucewaltersford.net. Great guys. If you're in the market for a new car, be sure to go see them.
We're also brought to you by Presbyterian Homes of Cedar Creek and Good Shepherd at Phelps. If you're looking for quality care for loved ones, look no further than Presbyterian Homes of Cedar Creek and Good Shepherd at Phelps. Both facilities treat your loved ones with care and respect. They offer therapy, daily activities, exquisite cuisine, and home-like settings to make your family members feel at home. Call to schedule an appointment today. At Cedar Creek, call Jessica Thacker at 432-8243, and at Good Shepherd, call 456-8725. Caring for your loved ones is what we do best.
All right. Be sure to go down, give us a like and a subscribe. Those comment anything that you'd like to see on the program in the future. Follow us on all the social medias. These guys are out working hard, covering these local sports. So give us a like and a subscribe. And this week you're going to want to stick around. Got some really cool interviews with Jason Booher, Pikeville's principal, and Joel Thornburry, my guy, taking care of me with the flu shot.
Yeah.
Go get your flu shot.
Nova Pharmacy, one of our sponsors. I mean, great guy.
And Dr. Ferris Cater, all these guys ran the Berlin Marathon. You got a chance to go out and talk to them and just kind of hear their story. It's super cool. You're going to want to stick around and check that interview out. That'll be on the end of this episode. And that's going to take us straight in to what's becoming my least favorite part of the show, is talking picks.
Week by week.
Yeah, it's not going well. I was telling them before we came on, man. I mean, I just felt so good off college football Saturday. I was just absolutely scorching hot, and then the NFL happened. I'm pretty sure I didn't hit any
That's what got me. The NFL killed me last
high school football game.
And, you talk about how you're sliding. Just for everybody who knows, I'm at the main bottom. I was tied with Josh, and he even went ahead of me this week.
Well,
something
I had a good
is
week
up.
this week, though.
Something is up.
Yeah, Josh had a good week, 9-3. Hell, you were 8-4. I'm 8-4. Corey over there's 6-6, but he's still right. He and I are right beside each other. So we'll go into talking picks. We'll start out with some of these high school games coming up. There is a huge high school football game this Friday.
Huge.
Pikeville traveling to Hazard to play the Bulldogs. And, I mean, this is just as good as it gets.
Regular season, it probably gets no bigger than this. The Paintsville game was big for Pikeville. The Belfry game was big for Pikeville. This is even bigger, in my opinion, because this is district standings. Whoever wins this game will get the home game for the first 2 rounds and probably have to see the other one in the second round at home. So whoever wins this is probably going to be hosting the other one in the playoffs. So this is a huge game.
And a huge test for a team like Pikeville, going on the road to Hazard, hostile environment. I mean, they did it with Belfry. They've got a little bit of experience going out and handling business on the road, but this is a huge game.
Well, and the Paintsville game, Paintsville was bigger than Pikeville up front. Yeah. And that kind of gave Pikeville some problems. Hazard's even bigger than Paintsville up front. So, there's going to be some matchups, but Pikeville's athleticism and speed is kind of what sets them apart. And then, last week, Isaac Magdalene, we got to talk about his performance. 4 for 5 passing, 203 yards. All 4 passes completed went for touchdowns. That is unheard
That's
of.
an insane
That
stat.
is insane.
Yeah, that's an insane stat. So I have a feeling, much like the Belfry week, Pikeville will probably be a ghost town because everybody's going to be heading to Hazard to watch the Panthers play. So that'll take us right into it. Pikeville at Hazard.
I went Pikeville. I've seen both of them several times this year. I like what Pikeville has on the outside with their skill guys. It's going to be close, though. I mean, either to me, this is a coin toss game, and whoever wins, I'm not going to be shocked.
Yeah.
I've got Pikeville too, man. I've seen them play way too well throughout the season. They've been tested early and often, especially like when they played Paintsville and Belfry. Those were two huge games. I think they pulled this one out.
I think we're all in agreement there.
Yeah, I mean, I got Pikeville too in this one. I haven't picked against them all year.
And why would you so
Yeah,
far?
well, yeah.
Yeah,
why would you?
there was no reason. I mean, but this is probably fair to say. I mean, no offense to Belfry.
No.
This is probably their toughest game.
Yeah, on the road with so much at stake.
And going further from home than
and well, that's a natural rival too.
Yeah.
A district. The Belfry Pikeville's a bragging right game. This actually, you're playing for district.
There's a lot
at stake. There's a lot at stake. I mean, this could be the difference of who wins this. Could get the home field, win that one. That could be a difference of who wins the state championship and who goes home in the second round.
100%. So we're all on Pikeville in the first
Corey
game.
picked Hazard.
And Corey did pick Hazard. So, listen.
And that's not a bad pick.
That's not a bad
not
pick.
a
I think we all can agree this is a toss-up game. These are two talented football teams. Moving into the second game, we got Harlan County coming to Johnson Central, another mountain powerhouse team playing at home. Who you got?
Harlan County is a very good team. 6-1 on the season. They're rolling through the Class 4A, but it's not. They've not played.
About
Johnson
to hit a brick
Central.
wall.
I think this is all Johnson Central. That team is just loaded. They're playing well. They're big up front. They're strong. They're quick.
Yeah.
Riley Priest is just one of the absolute best in the state. I'll go Johnson Central. Nothing against Harlan County. They're a good team.
Yeah.
I just don't see them beating Johnson Central.
Kind of sound as an Eagle mate.
I'll
I'm
let
not
you
sure,
go.
but go ahead.
I got Johnson Central.
I got the. Harlan is the Green Dragons. So that
No,
could
this
have
is
been
the Black Bear. This is the Harlan County. This is the
Who
big
am I
town.
talking about?
You're talking about the single A Harlan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The City Skull, the Green Dragons. No, they would not put Johnson Central on this schedule. No, I mean, that's a safe assumption.
That would be a bad move.
Somebody might die.
It's probably a bad move for anybody to put Johnson Central on their schedule at this point.
Yeah.
But I've got Johnson Central in this game too. Another team. I'm just not going to pick against them this year. I mean, they're just too good. Those are our two high school games. We're going to move straight into college. Marshall Thundering Herd going to Florida Atlantic, giving up 5.5 points. Florida Atlantic 5.5-point home favorites against Marshall.
I went Marshall. I just don't trust Florida Atlantic. I think Marshall's got some good pieces.
Lane Kiffin, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I kind of like Marshall. It's one of those teams. No reasoning. I just picked Marshall. I like them.
I was so close to picking Lane Kiffin and
Me too.
and Florida Atlantic. In
But
this.
it's Lane Kiffin. How can you pick him?
I went Marshall.
I mean, I would pick him just because it made me smile what he did to Tennessee. You know what I mean? Like, he set Tennessee back 25 years.
Yeah, they're still covered.
But I picked Marshall in this one too. No other reason than I've seen Marshall play a little bit this year. I haven't seen Florida Atlantic at all. Marshall wins this one, and they cover, I think.
I know Tennessee fans.
I'll take them outright.
I know Tennessee fans right now that have seen what Lane Kiffin has done there, and they're like, "I want him back."
There's no chance.
Ooh.
I'm just saying so. I know some.
That's crazy.
that is a.
I mean, that's crazy.
That's rough.
Could you? Well, we don't have to go down that road. We'll go ahead and take a few minutes and talk about UK at Georgia. Why is a good question for that. Currently, as of today, Tuesday, the game's on Saturday. Kentucky's currently a 25-point underdog, which we felt like was a little bit low.
That's low.
Based on that Arkansas performance.
Absolutely. We just have to thank God that Arkansas is somehow worse than us.
It's unreal.
And I mean, you got to give a shout out to Lynn Baldwin for the performance.
Gutsy performance.
But that's not going to fly against Georgia, especially having tape on it and seeing it. That's just not going to fly. And
No.
they're coming off a loss, so they're
Yeah,
going to be
big
mad.
loss.
I just don't see anything good coming out of this game for UK.
I mean, I'll let you go ahead. I'm
Oh, I've
assuming
got-
you took
I've
Georgia.
got Georgia in this one, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I took Georgia too. You know, like you said, shout out to Lynn Bowden. Not a lot of guys can pick up, start at quarterback in the SEC, no less, after having not played quarterback since high school. He came out. He did run the ball pretty well.
Our run game looked pretty good.
The
last
run
night.
game, but that's all we had. He
And-
did throw a
but-
touchdown pass.
Yeah, that's true. But, I mean, what we've been saying all year, we got to run the ball. So we actually had to run the ball. And when we had to, we ran it well. So if that's the positive that you're getting out of the game, well, maybe that is. Just run the ball.
196 yards on 2 carries for Lynn Bowden. 2 touchdowns. It's just, you know, we know for a fact that things are lined up a little bit against us. Georgia, like you said, just lost to South Carolina. You know they're not going to drop 2 in a row.
No.
So even if we go down there and give them our best effort, it's hard to imagine coming out of this one with a win. Kentucky cover the 25 points.
I don't see it.
I just don't. I don't think they got enough like firepower on offense, dude. Especially when you take possibly your best receiver and move him to quarterback, and then he's your top running back.
It's not the offense lacks firepower, which they do right now. But our defense, until we start tackling,
It's a problem.
That's a problem. That's our biggest problem to me. And we've talked about it all season.
Yeah.
We're just not tackling well.
I can go ahead and tell you, DeAndre Swift's going to give us all kinds of problems.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia's got a lot of guys that are going to give us all kinds of problems. And like you said, our defense, you know, shout out to Cash Daniel, a guy we love, you know, but listen, we
Can't do it by himself.
He can't do it by himself, and we have a hard time covering people in the middle of the field. We have a hard time tackling. So, with the exception of this game, the rest of these games are winnable.
Yeah, as
Kentucky.
long as, you know, I mean, to me, the one thing that I don't want to see is Bowden go in there and play quarterback and get hurt.
Yeah.
If you do that, then what's the rest of the season like for Kentucky?
Yeah,
It's
you
gonna
don't
be
want them to go out there and get killed. You don't want any of these key players to go out and get hurt. Georgia's obviously a hard place to play. I think Georgia may have been a little bit overrated, though.
Maybe.
Just a little bit. They're not LSU. They're not Bama.
No.
They're not Ohio State, which to me are the 3 best teams in the country.
And and we talked about Wisconsin last week.
Wisconsin's great.
They're in the conversation somewhere.
For sure. So we're going to just move on from that. You know, go Cats. We're sticking with them. Like we said before, we're with you in the 2-10 seasons. We're with you in the 10-2 seasons. But you know when to chalk one up.
Yeah.
And that's this week at Georgia. Let's just hope nobody dies. Moving into the next college game, we got Arizona State at Utah. Utah's 13.5-point favorites. Utah's playing some pretty good football at the beginning of the season, kind of tailed off a little bit. It was a popular pick.
I mean, to me, Utah, I don't know. I've seen them a couple times. I thought they looked really good early, and then after I've seen them a couple times late on, I've not seen whole games, but when I've watched some snippets and 10-minute sections or whatever, I'm just not impressed like all the time. Like I think they have potential, but it's not like they're always putting the foot on the pedal. So I went Arizona State. I think 13.5 is a big.
That's a big number.
And I just don't see them covering that.
The Fighting Herm Edwards, by the way.
And
Arizona
Herm
State.
will have those guys fired up. He will have
Yeah.
those guys fired up.
I have a lot of faith in him.
I can listen to Herm be fired
yeah.
up right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that
absolutely.
guy's. So
I wonder what we could get Herm to get Josh to do if we got him fired up enough.
Herm would talk Josh.
Oh my God, the possibilities are endless.
The Oklahoma drill is like the least we could talk him into. He'd have Josh ready to run through that window.
He probably wouldn't even have to finish what he was going to ask us to do. I'd probably just be like, "Yes, coach."
So just to recap, you're on.
I'm going Herm Edwards in Arizona State.
Same.
I took Utah in this game, and I said before we came on, I kind of regret that one. Obviously, I'm going to stick with Utah, but I do love Arizona State to cover the 13.5.
Yeah, I think they definitely cover.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if they don't cover that. I mean, I won't be shocked if they lose because it's at Utah, tough place to play on the road. But if they don't cover that, that's going to be a big win for Utah if they cover that 13.5.
They need the win, and then we're going to move into the Big Ten. Michigan at Penn State. Jim Harbaugh coaching for his job. Going to Happy Valley, they're going to have the whiteout. They're 9-point favorites at home. Penn State, kind of hit and miss this year. Michigan, just not good.
No, they're not
They
good.
stink.
At Happy Valley, coaching for his job, I like Penn State. I mean, I just don't think what Harbaugh's doing at Michigan is working.
Not with the quarterback and
No.
the personnel that he
No.
has.
No.
Yeah, I
I
just
mean,
don't-
it's
They've
just,
just never put it together with him, and I don't think they do this Saturday either.
It's hard for me to trust everything they've tried to do at Michigan and failed like year after year. So I mean, I took Penn State in this one. I like the kid that came in and took over for Saquon Barkley after he left. I think he's a pretty good football player. Honestly, I think Penn State's just a better team.
me too. I took Penn State. I actually think they win big in this one. I don't see Michigan staying with them. I think they may hang around through the first half. I think Penn State wins this game by double digits, so look for Penn State to cover. I will definitely be doing that. And then a team that I'm kind of on for whatever reason, I have been all year, North Carolina at Virginia Tech. North Carolina is a 3.5-point road favorite. Mac Brown, they played some good football this year.
They play good football. They play hard. Why Texas ever wanted Mac Brown out of there, I'll never know. If he was at Texas right now, they'd be in a lot better shape.
Probably, yeah.
I went North. Here's the other question. When have you ever seen Virginia Tech in the last 20 years be an underdog at home?
Yeah, it's not Beamer ball
It's
anymore.
not Beamer ball. I went North Carolina.
Tech.
I actually kind of want to see Voltech win this game.
They can win. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this game is a 3.5-point spread.
Yeah, it's going to be a close
It's a
one.
toss-up. I mean,
I went Voltech.
I'm rolling with the Tar Heels in this one. That's one of the only times you'll ever hear me say that in football season. You'll never hear me say that in basketball season. But I'm rolling with Mac Brown, the Tar Heels, in this one. I look for them to win and cover. And moving into the NFL, where, I mean, at this point, I could probably just sit the whole damn thing out. I
Me
mean,
too.
I'm just bricking on the NFL week after week after week.
I until last week, I'd been doing pretty good in the NFL. I've probably been doing better in the NFL than I had the college and high school. But last week, I was just terrible. That being said, the first game, what is it?
LA Rams at Atlanta. Rams 3-point road favorites.
I went Rams.
The Falcons stink, by
They're
the way,
bad.
They're
bad.
terrible.
which makes no sense.
Yeah, they shouldn't be.
Well, the
terrible.
Rams aren't as good as we thought they
No,
were.
no,
either.
they're-
Me picking them at the beginning of the year, we'll come back next week and do mid-season retakes.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not going Rams. I'm telling you that.
That's a tough pick right now. And who you got? Rams at Atlanta.
I got the Rams over the Falcons, but I think it's just getting to the point in the NFL season, man. Like some unpredictable stuff is really starting to happen. Like,
Well, and it's still early in the season. We've seen teams start out slow before and kind of be able to turn it around. I
Yeah.
think the Rams definitely have the personnel to be able to do that. Jared Goff was terrible last week. No Todd Gurley obviously hurt him. I took the Rams in this game too, just because I don't trust Atlanta at all. And then, good Lord, Jacksonville at Cincinnati. This almost hurts me more than UK because.
They are bad.
But here's what they need. They need to keep being bad.
Yeah.
Now's not the time to turn this thing around.
No, I think Burrows is our guy next year. I think that's we got to focus on somehow getting him or two, either one. I would prefer Burrows, but we got to do something. There got to be a shakeup somewhere.
Here's the most. The Bengals are a 3-point home underdog against the Jaguars.
With a hurt Gardner Minshew, who had his worst performance being hurt,
Yeah.
we knew he was going to play. They said he wasn't going to play last week. We knew he was gonna
I guess
play.
we should.
He didn't
Yeah.
play great, but I still went Jacksonville this one. Cincinnati, everything we said about UK not being a great team,
Same
well,
applies.
Just apply times 10 to Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati's not good in any aspect of football. They're just not good at football right now.
no, not right now. They're not. But I mean, they got some problems, especially on the defense. They need to maybe get some fresh young talent. Would be
They've
a
got
goal.
some problems on the defense, the offensive line, quarterback.
Everywhere.
I took
receiver.
Jacksonville. Though. I think I like Jacksonville a lot in this one.
Every week up until last week, we have picked Cincinnati. They've yet to win a game.
I'm not
0-6.
I'm not doing it this way.
I'm not doing it this week either. I'm taking Jacksonville, and I will probably take Jacksonville to cover in this game. They're going to cover that 3-point spread. Cincinnati, keep doing what you're doing. Let's get some freaking draft picks.
Let's just
Miami's the only other team winless now.
Yeah.
It's the Tua sweepstakes. And by the way, we play Miami week 16. Cincinnati and Miami play week 16.
Might be for the number one pick.
Could be going into Houston, who's playing. I mean, maybe not Houston's playing lights out. Deshaun Watson is
playing lights out.
Newsflash, he's real good.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson's
on
real
the
good.
other end of the spectrum, though, Jacoby Brissett is playing
Surprisingly
really
good. Houston at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a 1-point favorite, but that's just the
That's
home
being at
field
home.
swing.
That's at home. I went Houston. I just think Houston's on a roll right now. They'll find a way.
I went Houston too. I think Indianapolis altogether, they're a really good NFL team. Like as far as, I mean, yeah, the quarterback thing, they'll figure that out. But if they would have kept Andrew Luck, they would have been one of my AFC title picks.
I got Houston in this one too. Jacoby Brissett's playing better football than anybody expected him to play. They've got a good defense. They're a team that could put it together. And that's a divisional matchup. It's just Houston with Deshaun Watson right now. Deshaun Watson's next level. I mean, he's very, very fun to watch. And then going in, Baltimore at Seattle. Seattle's 3.5-point favorites. Baltimore just I mean, that was the suck bowl, Baltimore against Cincinnati. That was a terrible game.
Hey, Cincinnati's terrible. Baltimore's not much better.
They're not, but they're probably going to win the division just because the division is so bad.
Our defense just isn't what it used to be.
Well, that offense, it's not going to work
that's-
against everybody. It's not going to work against Seattle. I mean, you got to be able to throw the ball and not get guys killed. Mark Andrews, that dude better have a good life insurance policy.
He's going to get killed.
He's going to get killed.
So I'm assuming you're on Seattle.
I was Seattle.
I know you're with Baltimore, right? Is that you're rolling with your guys? He's a Baltimore guy.
Lamar Jackson is not an NFL quarterback.
It's not looking like it right
now. Not yet. He's not.
His throws are just.
Yeah, and he's another guy that's probably going to get killed if he keeps running on. He's just so much faster and such a better athlete than anybody. He's kept from getting killed to this point. I got Seattle in this game. Russell Wilson early on, MVP.
Right now.
If I had to pick an MVP, it'd be Russell Wilson.
I mean, Russell Wilson's playing crazy, crazy good. I mean, good chance Seattle could come out of the NFC. It's still early on, so I don't want to make any crazy picks right now. And then the last NFL game, two teams coming off tough losses. Philadelphia going to Dallas. This is Monday night game, Sunday night. Sunday night game. Dallas is a 3-point home favorite. Philly just took a bad loss. Dallas took a really bad loss.
I think what we're learning is the NFC East is not good either.
No, it's terrible. All those teams stink.
You know, I think Dallas might be the best of the worst teams. That's your best two teams in the NFC East. But I went Dallas, but it's a coin toss.
I went Philly.
Yeah, man, I think I went Philly too in this one. I'm not sure why. Philly's secondary is god-awful. Carson Wentz is playing pretty well at this point, but teams are running the ball at will, and if you've got any group of receivers whatsoever, you're going to probably tear Philly apart. We'll see if Amari Cooper and those guys come back. They didn't play last, or he got hurt early
just
last
released,
week.
That linebacker that was playing
Zach
pretty
Brown
decent for him.
got released. But I took Philly in this one. Dallas 3-point favorites at home. So we'll see how these picks pan out. And real quick, we just want to give a special shout-out to Shelby Valley senior linebacker Isaac Hinkle. Went down with a broken collarbone. Friend of the program.
Yeah.
Seen the guy play a lot this year. We want to say best of luck and get well soon. You know, you hate to see a young guy go down like that.
And you know, the tough thing that we're seeing with some of these injuries is not that, you know, that injuries happen. We all know that.
Yeah.
But it's when these seniors get hurt like that and their career comes to the end before the playoffs roll around. We don't, you know, we want to see these kids playing as long as they can.
Right.
You know, and that's the sad thing about this. You know, I think he's going to have a full recovery. It's just, you know, he's not going to be playing out there with his teammates the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's going to miss the rest of the season, so we definitely want to.
And he's a great kid.
Yeah, great kid. Get well soon again to Isaac Hinkle. And be sure, stick around, check out this interview with Jason Booher, Joel Thornburry, and Dr. Cater, who all ran the Berlin Marathon. Some great stuff. Definitely some good insight from these guys about their experience running the Berlin Marathon. And be sure to check us out next week, episode number 9 coming up. So we'll be thinking about those number 9s. I've got a couple in mind right now. And be sure to check out, these guys will be out there this Friday covering all the local high school sports along with Corey. Big game, Pikeville at Hazard. Be fun to see the result. We'll be talking a little bit about that. And we'll see you again next week on Unwired Appalachia.
Well, it really was a chance of a lifetime. You know, it's a world major, one of the 6. And it was just a great experience. It's the first world major I'd ran. And I got to go over 2 of my running buddies, Joe and then Ferris Cotter as well. So it was an unbelievable experience. It was even better than I thought it was going to be, actually, the trip and the race itself. We had a great time, and it was a great race and a great trip. We learned a lot, got to visit some neat places, a lot of history there in Berlin, and it's a new history, you know, within the last 70 years. So, but we had a great time. It was a great trip.
Now this was your first major, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's the first one.
So there are 6 world majors: Boston, New York, Chicago, Berlin, Tokyo, and London. Doc Ferris and I had run Chicago, and he'd also run New York and Boston.
Oh wow!
But it was a great experience, not only for Doc and I, but to go through it with Jason in his first major. It made it more surreal. It was nice to see the appreciation of running with 46,000 of your closest running compatriots from around the world.
Yeah.
That's what makes the Berlin Marathon a little more unique than the ones we might see over here. The concentration or the mix of locals to people like us that came from out of the country just adds flavor.
Yeah.
Colombia, Uruguay, Japan, Chinese. You're running with runners from all over the world, and you're realizing that you're lining up, doing the same thing and battling the same 26.2 demon that all these other people are trying to.
And just kind of talk about, the experience of having, a couple buddies that are running with you, because, running is a thing that, it's a challenge that you have to take upon yourself, but having that camaraderie there and guys, just talk about how much that makes the experience even better.
Well, that was the uniqueness of getting into the Berlin Marathon. Most marathons are single entry, lottery entry, or time qualification entry. Berlin sets it up to where you can apply into their lottery as a 3-man team. It makes it, especially going to another country that you're not, or you've never been to, it makes it tremendously easier because you're going over there. There were 6 of us that went. Our wives went with us. So it makes that an experience that not only in and of itself running a marathon is unique, but being able to share it with people that you get up and, 2 guys that I get up and sweat with every day, running around town, but then make it as we call it, a runcation experience. Jason insinuated there, or basically said that, the history that we learned was just, you can't describe it.
Yeah. And for you, Coach, the 27 reasons why you had the jersey. We've talked about this before, but, taking that to a different country and raising awareness of that, how big was that for you?
Well, that's big, and that's it's good that I've been able to get on a big stage to that. Joe wore a jersey with it as well on there, so many hundreds and thousands of people maybe got to see that. But what's great is when you get home and people say, we got to live your runcation through social media. And, I came out of church on Sunday and they said, there were people stopping me saying, in Sunday school class, we talked about how you're using something, such a big tragic negative in your life to make it a positive out of it. So hopefully a lot of people's been impacted by the story and the cause, but yeah, we went over there and a lot of people's read the story about the each mile being dedicated to one of the people that didn't make it off the Carrollton bus crash with me. And especially the last, 0.2 which is the hardest part of the race. And but it was a beautiful part because you get to go through the Brandenburg Gate right then and so forth for my best friend. So
well, then you also get to realize exactly the impact you have. Through the amount of time that I've got to spend with him, I've gotten familiar with the story. I'm very fortunate, very thankful that he survived. I feel very unfortunate and sad for all those in the families that didn't, and it was an honor to wear that. But when I finished the marathon, and one of my first things after we congratulated each other, as a group, and we began to dissect the marathon, one of the things that I said to him, and just lit him up, I said, Coach, I had 3 or 4 people basically say, don't drink and drive. Or I ran with somebody that engaged me on what the story was. What did it mean with the jersey that I was wearing? And that meant something to him because it spreads a story. It might change that one person's life. And that's the impact of what we do when we run and when we wear our jerseys or we go out and, we interact with other people from other areas.
Yeah, and you just talk about, not only, spreading that message for high school kids throughout your career, but now, that message is going broader. Just talk about how big that is for, you hear it all the time, don't drink and drive. But when it hits home to people and they put a face with it and see somebody's affected, just kind of talk about how big that is for you to kind of take that message, even broader. Because I know that's the thing that you wanted to do and spread that. Just talk about how big that is to you personally.
Well, it is big, and the good Lord's always blessed me with a stage or a place that I can present that with it. And through basketball and coaching and making to the state tournament and winning the state championship, that's allowed me to get the contacts that I've had in order to spread the word even bigger, not just in the school or community that I've been living at, but the more and more we go through it now as a principal or like you said, going on a world marathon stage, it allows you to reach more people. Now, not only am I reaching the basketball players or my school or different schools that I spoke in, now hopefully I'm reaching through the message the running community, which is a whole different ball game than the basketball community that I was in or education community. So the running community, it's a neat community. They're a lot tight knit and it's pretty neat. So yeah, running's given me another stage besides basketball and education to a platform, I guess is the best way to say it, to spread the word about the consequences of drinking and driving and, even further with the drug epidemic in eastern Kentucky and around the nation, the consequences of doing drugs as well. But
so a lot of the play up to the Berlin Marathon, we were getting literature and those type of things, and they continued to talk about the Berlin, what to expect as you check in and those type of things. And one of the things that struck unique to me, and I really in the last 2 or 3 days since I've been back, has really come to home because, as Jason referred to earlier, the support we were getting or that we get from back home, not only from our run people, but our friends and family and people that don't know us, was tremendous. It really is just hard to describe. We're trying to break barriers, push each other, support each other, to hopefully inspire others to not only, inquire about the causes we're running for, but to go do these things. Go learn, come back, bring what you've learned so that we can improve what we have. But all the literature they spoke about was, at the end of it, they would always basically say Berlin legends. The Berlin Marathon is this is the day, Berlin legends. And I had no idea really what that meant and I always thought it talked about the elites, the people that you see, the people that you see at the Olympics and those legends. But I didn't realize that they were actually talking about us and the fact that what we did is legendary because we were actually in the race as a side point when the millionth person that had ever run the Berlin Marathon crossed the line. So they've had over 1 million people complete the Berlin Marathon over the years. And so I push upon these two that I run with legends every day. Now sometimes that's good because I'm not sure how they'll deal with it, but but they're both very competitive. But being a Berlin legend is unique. And hopefully inspiring for other people that we run with or people that we don't run with, just friends and family that we know. just to say, you know what, they did something. You know, maybe we can help them, or maybe I should do something, or maybe I can do something in that time.
Yeah, and you've said that you've run in other major marathons. Knowing what he's doing with his first one and the things that he's got to come up with some of these other ones that you've already ran in, I mean, just kind of anticipate. What
listen, he's going to be a sub-3 marathoner, I'm sure. Him and Ferris. I would expect nothing less from both of them. Actually, I say that in jest because running is first of all is a gift from God. Okay, we're fortunate because we're healthy enough, and God has given us the mechanics to go out here and do, you know, one of the hardest strenuous activities that we know or that we measure. Okay, and we get to remain healthy. Doing that at any faster pace is really it's hard work. But then we have learned with our experiences, there's only so much that you have to, and that's part of the growth within running. Whether it be a marathon, a 5K, or whatever, that you have to realize that you have to be dedicated to it. You've got to work at it, and you just got to do the best you can, and living with the fact that is the best you can do, you know. And it might not be what you imagine, but the reality is that this is the best you can do, and that it's not being content, but it is being satisfied, and.
Yeah, and Jason, you got a little bit different perspective too, because you got Harrison, who's competing at the high school level, and he's doing all kinds of great things. But running can open up. He's probably going to get a scholarship somewhere for his ability running. I mean, just talk about how you see the difference. I mean, I think you said you alluded to before that he kind of got you into it. And you can sit back and watch his journey from the beginning as well. Just talk about how neat that is.
He's not referring to the time difference.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. My son Harrison, I used to be able to run with him, but now he's way past me. So
we call that youth.
Yeah, we
call that youth.
But one thing about the good thing about running is it's not like football or basketball where one day you're going to play your last game. Running, hopefully, as long as you can stay healthy, like Joel was talking about. Running's a lifelong activity that you can do. So when I get older, the older I get, Harrison will age as well. Maybe that's one of those things Dad's son can go back and get in little 5K or 10K or half marathon races or whatever that we can continue to do. So it allows us to have something in common and, like I said, shoot for later on in life, be able to, because right now I can't run with him. I mean, he's way off in the distance. But yeah, it's giving him something that me and him can talk about a whole bunch around the dinner table or sitting on the couch or whatever at home. And yeah, he's hopefully, I wish him the best of luck. He's got his last couple weeks here of his cross country season of his senior year, and they're looking forward to hopefully the best team that's ever finished here at Pikeville is 4th in the state. Mm-hmm. Right now they're ranked 2nd, so they're trying to be the best team to ever walk the halls of Pikeville High School as far as boys cross country.
Continuing the tradition of excellence here at Pikeville High School.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we could probably sit around and talk about your all's experience for hours and hours, but I mean, just kind of last things that something I might have forgot that y'all want to share that maybe I just wouldn't know.
Well, a couple things. Going to Berlin, my first world major, that was also special to me because my dad was in the military, and that's where I was born, is on an army base in Germany. Many years ago. And so it was special to me because I was going back to my birthplace, the country where I was born, even though, he was an American on an army base there. But that was special. And then also running and doing all this stuff is great, but also that running community and your friends like Joel and Ferris and all that I've developed, a strong bond with. Because this wasn't the only trip we've taken. It's been the funnest trip, I believe, the best trip we've taken so far. But we've taken a lot of trips together and had a lot of fun times. And I take care of them, both them, make sure they're straight all the time.
That's exactly how it works.
But no, we had a great time. And like I said, it was my birthplace. That made it special. It was the first time I got to wear the jersey with the, survivor of the nation's worst drinking and driving crash. And of course, dedicating those miles. So that meant a lot as well. But then it also meant a lot because we were able to take our wives off for the first time also on these trips. And I think they had a great time getting to know each other and hang out and have fun and tour a lot of the history of Berlin, and then I guess the most impactful thing that I learned from the trip was visiting a concentration camp.
Oh wow!
And just go walking the same places that all those men, women, and children had to walk in their lives at 70 or 80 years ago. That was probably the most eye-opening, kind of eerie thing that I've ever went to. But it was a great learning experience, and something that you just can't believe that many innocent people had to go through what they had to go through. So that was probably the most, if there's one thing besides racing and running and all that I would take away from the trip, it would be visiting the concentration camp. Of course, the food's great in Germany as well. I love the food, and I've already told Joel and them I miss it so bad because everything's fresh and there's no preservatives and hormones pumped in their meat, and everything's fresh over there. So their food was really good as well.
So mine is a little bit similar to Jason's. As a kid growing up in eastern Kentucky and southwest Virginia, my dad was stationed over there. So I'd always heard for years, I was over there for, X number of years being stationed there, Germany this, Germany that. And so it was very surreal to go finally as a 50-year-old to see exactly what it had become and to break some of that. What I pull from the trip is go. Germany is not, it's very inviting. English is not their first language, but it's not far off. They teach their children early about English, and so the language transition is really not very difficult. The way of life is completely different than we are over here, and that's a little bit of a learning experience, but you can appreciate that when you first get there. The history that we have always lived black and white jumped out of the pages to us. We were shocked that Germany has done everything not to ignore its past. I mean, we were in places where Hitler started the 1930 games. Okay, we saw where Jesse Owens won the 100 and 200 meters. We saw that. We were in that stadium, and all that history of and they've converted these old buildings and places into museums. We walked on the ground where they burned the tens of thousands of books during the Nazi realm. We saw the Berlin Wall. I mean, all this stuff is no longer just two-dimensional. It was surreal, and we went there to run. We spent hundreds of hours training and preparing to go run, and what we pull away from it are life-changing things that had some to do with the run, but really the history that we've all lived with or seen, and as Jason referred to, it's recent history. And so what I take away from it in the concentration camp, you just have to experience it. I mean, it just is sad, but it's part of our history and of the history, and you have to make sure that you don't forget that. And the Germans were far from trying to suppress it. They openly say, we want you to remember. We want to basically show you what we were. Don't be afraid of the past because we don't want to repeat it. And so we walked on the Berlin Wall, we touched the Berlin Wall. We saw East Germany. We saw West Germany. We took a tour over there. The food was phenomenal. There are things that we do because of running so that we can come back and make the environment in which we live in better. The Berlin Marathon, to me, or really in addition to not only getting to share it with two of my closest running buddies and our wives, just the sheer experience of seeing people from all over the globe come together for a cause, and we got a great educational piece on top of that. We missed Pikeville. We were very proud. We wore Kentucky garb, and we had people ask us where we were from. We would run into people from the States over there, and it was a determination to complete a task, so that we could be proud of ourselves, and the people that we were back here representing over there would also be proud of us.
the last question would probably be, what's next? And I get that by everybody.
What's
And,
next?
Our next is probably the premier world major out of the 6 would be Boston Marathon, and that'll be August 20th this coming spring, and that's going to be a great time. And we're going to run the race in 26.2 miles, and in the it's kind of like the in racing it'd be like the Indy 500 or Daytona 500, and making the Final Four, playing the championship game or whatever. This is the premier race of all races is the Boston Marathon. So we're excited about that coming this spring, and that, like I said, that'll be in April, on April 20th, and we already got our everything booked, ready to go. So we're excited about that.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.